on Nocturnal on Place to Be, I always liked the Transformer sound you guys had in the background there. So was that Transformers? Is that D.C reference? Is that both? Is that something else? Like what made
No, that's all it is. I mean, it's basically because we were Decepticons. Yeah.
Okay. And with that, you know, since you guys do have sound effects and doing these different things creatively, adding those layers to a song, whether it's a sound effect or just talking or whatever, how does that satisfy you creatively or give a song extra dimensions for you?
I mean, it's just what we want. I mean, I don't know. I think you're making it too deep. Like, you know what I mean? Like you hear some shit, you say some Transformer shit, you want to add it. It's that, you know, it's that simple. If it sounds dope, you keep it. If it sounds ass, then you delete that. And that's just the end of it. You know what I mean? You trying things, you know, you want to represent yourself in as creatively as possible. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to do shit that ain't so on the nose or on the button. Sometimes you want to do shit that's, you know, on the button and cheesy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it works.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then how and why was Nocturnal the place, at least album-wise, that the single, the Le Flair, Le Fly, Le Scoska came out? How did that end up on your guys' album?
Because our album was first. You know what I mean? The Blog was on OGC's album because it was next. Le Flaw was actually the B-side to Blog when it first came out, but you know, people gravitated to it so much. So when we put out Nocturnal, we put Le Flaw on that album and we put Blah on OGC's. Just so you know, you up to bat, take this one. You know what I mean?
Okay. Fair enough. And then how and why did you guys end up linking with E Swift for the Operation Lockdown?
Just we were fans, you know what I mean? And we met them. We had done shows with them, with the Alcoholics, excuse me. And I don't know, we made mention of liking E Swift's production, and I don't know, somebody got him. I don't know who got him, but somebody got him. And I was like, oh, word? Yeah, nice. I went to the studio one day, he was there. He was playing a beat that sounded like almost nothing with a fucking pager sound on it. And we was mad, but it ended up being a banger.
Well,
Word up.
yeah, I love that song. But I was also intrigued, not only was it a single, but it was the last song on the album. So how or why did you guys have
the last song we recorded?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it was almost the last. So the last song we recorded was the intro.
Okay.
But Nocturnal was before. I mean, Operation Lockdown was before that. We was almost done. You know what I'm saying? The single was probably going to be the Wiggy or Understand or something like that. And you know, we recorded that jump off, and next thing you know, like Drew and Buck, and like everybody loved this shit. I was like, it's all right, you know, we dope. We gonna make any beat sound good. You know what I'm saying? La 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 la. But after they mixed it and, you know what I'm saying, turned up the right stuff and turned down the right stuff, I was like, all right, I get it.
That's a great one. So
yeah.
At times I always think it's interesting today that people put out so much material, and in the mid to late 90s when you guys were emerging, that wasn't the case. So do you remember what with Nocturnal to Magnum Force? Did it take 2 years because you guys were touring? Did it take 2 years just because different things? Like what was going on?
I mean, all of that. You touring and you're touring and you you know, you didn't just microwave make music, you know what I'm saying? And you know, you didn't have control over the pace. You didn't book your own studio sessions. You didn't do any of that. Like nowadays, like which is really important. Like because like back then, like the label controlled everything. You understand what I'm saying? And that was just how I don't know if they were learning how to do that or it was part of the big, because I don't, you know, because labels are fucking evil places and shit. I mean, some of the people there are nice. You understand what I'm saying? I love some of the people I work with, but like the whole function of labels in rap have been some of the most devilish shit in the world, to the point where I don't even, like, honestly, I'm like, for the most part, like, we gonna stop talking about all that old shit because I don't get money off of that. You understand what I'm saying? But the new shit, you know what I'm saying? Like the difference, I mean, it ties right into your question. You know what I'm saying? Because with the old shit, with that pace was controlled by them. You know what I mean? And you know, the artists didn't have so much control over when and how fast they went in the studio, and who the beats came from, because the label didn't give them the money to pay. You know, beats, like a cheap producer was $5,000 back then. You know what I'm saying? So it was them controlling all of the money, this, that, and the third, and you going through all of that red tape. But you a star, you chilling, and that's how a lot of, you know, a lot of artists end up in unfavorable situations, because all of that time was spent. In the meantime, they was paying bills, rent, and car notes, and all kind of this shit, which was all charged to them. You know what I mean? So bad situation. These days, now that you don't have a label, you know, that the label has been pretty much removed from the equation with a lot of the artists. It's like, okay, I can't get my product to millions of people, to the same millions of people that the label got, but to these 50,000 people, I can get 10 times the amount of product to them and reap a way bigger percentage of the benefits, and actually reap the benefit without having to wait for these dudes to say I'm allowed to record or to book a studio. You understand what I'm saying? It's a big difference. So now a lot of rappers, they're running their own store. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, the Rockness, the invisible Rockness Monsta store. Like, I am the Rockness Monsta store. My brain is the fucking inventory, you know, is in the back. That's my brain. Go see if they got it in the back. That's my brain in the back. You understand what I'm saying? Pause. So we're now in a position where we're more responsible, or in control of our own money, our own destiny, our own fate. You know what I'm saying? Our own results. So it makes all of the sense in the world. Right now, I put out Nocturnal and Magnum Force and all of those shits on Priority Records, who folded to another label, and there was no streaming or none of this shit going on back then. Now they got streaming, and you go on YouTube or you go on any of these platforms, and LaFleur, all of these songs we talking about got millions of fucking streams that I ain't getting a dollar off of, because when I put out that music, none of these platforms existed. You understand what I'm saying? So now my job is to promote my new shit, and not be fucking making all of this, you know, just doing all of this work for these imaginary people who I don't even know who getting this music that should be coming to me. Nah, we done enough of that.
Understood. One song or one collaboration that you did recently that I really liked, or a few years ago now, was the Bridge Boys with Method Man. And of course, the Guns N' Ones you guys have done on Magnum Force with Meth. So I wanted you to break down working with him.
But did you hear Camp Wu?
Yes.
Yeah, Camp Wu and Clans and Clicks. We building a little collection with the Wu Boys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wanted you to break down kind of the working with Meth back in the late 90s, 97, 98 for Guns N' Ones, and then Bridge Boys, you know, all the stuff, other stuff you guys are doing now.
I mean, it's pretty much the same experience working with him. I mean, like he's the same guy. I mean, I'm sure he's evolved. So have I. Like, you know, we've grown, but I'm sure our personalities have evolved over the years, but the respect hasn't. Like, we've always rocked with each other heavy. You know what I mean? So, you know, if I holler at him, you know, if I call for a favor, he's always on. He's always on point. He delivers. And if ever, you know, all he got to do is give me my marching orders, and I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. It's always been like that from like the first time I met Son. I don't know why we've actually worked for the amount of respect that we have for each other. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird that we've only worked with each other as few times as we have. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know, men are prideful. I mean, and especially like he don't need my help. I need his help. You understand what I'm saying? Like he's a platinum selling artist. You know, he's a fucking accomplished actor and all this shit, this, that, and the third. But you know, I just try to use my favors sparingly. You understand what I'm saying? Like this what that's the homeboy. I don't want to just keep drag. Yo, let me get it, let me get it, let me get it, let me get it. But when it makes sense, I holler at my boy and he always come running. And that's just what it's been.
And that's what the Bridge Boys, the fact that he put that on the Meth Lab season 2, really, I was glad to hear it that, you know, you were on a project that he was putting out as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
And I just thought it was great. So, with that being said, I think it's interesting that as much as people still put out material, people do want to talk about the old stuff. So how do you balance that with promoting and getting people to listen to a Bridge Boys or to listen to a Monsters Ball or a Hood Credit or some of these other more recent songs?
I mean, it's on us. We got to do it. Like we gotta be steadfast. We gotta be mindful. I mean, gotta be careful not to get caught up. Like I've done lots of interviews where dudes get caught up. You know, me and the dude get caught up going down memory lane. And at the end of those interviews, I'm not happy because that's old shit. And hip hop, I don't know, like niggas refuse to grow up. You understand what I'm saying? It's like niggas refuse to move on and this shit. Like we so attached to the songs that we so attached to from an era that we so from the a lot of what made that magic happen and those attachments. A lot of what made that happen was labels. You know what I mean? Like labels make superstars. That's why you got rappers nowadays, they making tons of money and you and I probably still don't know who they are. They're not signed to a label. You know what I mean? Like there's money out there for everybody. You don't have to be a superstar to get paid in this game. You know what I mean? You can build you a fan base of 50,000 people, 40,000 people and feed them fuckers. Feed them. They will feed you back in return. So if they loyal. So with that being said, if you selling something, you sell a product to 50,000 loyal motherfuckers and that product costs $15, you got some money. You understand what I'm saying? You can keep repeating this process as fast without having to wait for a label to put you. You understand what I'm saying? So this is where we at, you know what I mean? So we can do, so we have to be mindful to always steer, you know, bring the attention to what we're promoting now, because we don't have to, like everybody's a victim to the brainwashing of the labels. So we don't have that no more. We got to make up the difference. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of songs we fell in love with. We only fell in love with them because we kept hearing them. You know what I mean? Like we would turn on, it was songs we didn't even like and we learned the lyrics to anyway because the labels had the money to keep those songs in your face and in your ear. Right. You know what I mean? So now, you know, like the general public doesn't people think that hits them. I mean, even rap, half of the people who rap and sing still think that hits are made just by being dope. No, dope records are made by being dope, but hits, no, sir. That's marketing.
Well, to your point, somebody that you worked with that I'm a big fan of on Magnum Force, Granddaddy IU, the Smooth Assassin album he had is phenomenal. But for whatever reason, it didn't get that exposure. That's an incredible album.
That's label shit. That's marketing. It's label shit.
Yeah.
So we, you know, we ourselves have the power to make, the fans and the artists have the power to make any era a dope era. You understand what I'm saying? The fans and the artists themselves, we have the power. It's just we don't realize it. We just think that like right now, we're looking at this era and we're questioning it. Not me personally. I mean, I figured this shit out, but we question this era because we only thing we take as relevance, only thing we place relevance on is the shit that's on mainstream radio and mainstream media. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, ain't no real hip hop is dead. Nigga, every dope hip hop artist you ever thought of, if he's still alive, he's still rapping. He just not on the radio. Find him.
It's very true.
Type his name in. If the nigga's still alive, he probably still rapping. Stop waiting for the butler to bring you your music.
Well, it's funny because the irony of that is, you and I both know, is back in the day, we had to search the music out because it wasn't on the radio. It wasn't really on.
Right.
It was on
Right.
it was on TV 1 hour a day on Yo MTV Raps and Rap City, unless you lived in New York and had Video Music Box. But other than that, you really had to find rap. And now it's everywhere.
And then and understand, I'm at an age where I remember a time when there was no Video Music Box.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I know mad like my childhood is filled with mad musical memories of shit like the Thompson Twins, Hall and Oates, Loose Ends, fucking the Police, Billy Idol, and like all it because on me and my brother had a little radio, and MTV had him started playing black. It wasn't. I don't think MTV was out yet, but whatever the video shows was, they wasn't playing no black. They wasn't playing no hip hop.
No, not at all.
You understand what I'm saying? We hadn't made it there yet. You know what I mean? So if you was a hip hop head all the way up to like the early 90s, man, you had to go. We was all crate diggers to a certain extent. You know what I mean? But it's different now. You know, once the business came into it, you know, the industry grew. And all of the rappers started going gold and platinum with these big stars, and it was on the radio, Hot 97, home of hip hop, and all of that shit, and all of that shit, and all of that shit. People got spoiled, you know what I mean? And they think that hip hop is just supposed to be that was the way it was supposed to be. When in its origins, it was the music of the rebels. It was the shit that wasn't on the radios, like you said. Like that's exactly what it was.
Absolutely. So that being said, I wanted to get from you with the first two Heltah Skeltah albums and then going into Dirt, since that was more than a decade later. And now we're even a decade after Dirt. What did you learn from the Duck Down Priority days to then just going with Duck Down and some of the solo stuff you were doing with Duck Down a decade after? How had you changed? How did the business change? How did what you approach the business change in that decade?
Well, I mean, I just learned, you know, I was learning as I went on. Like I was definitely always working at my craft, not just doing it, but working to make it better, finding ways to make it better, finding ways to make myself more, you know, to add more color to my verses, you know, not have them so dark, or to work on my clarity and shit like that, and better beats and better engineering. And look, the struggle for the hustle for engineering was always a thing. But also it was just a thing. Mostly it was a matter of like I was more willing to work with the cards that was dealt, basically. You know what I mean? Like there was a point back in Duck Down when I felt like, you know, shit was supposed to be a certain way because I came in the game a certain way. But the game changed, so I had to change. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to learn a lot of things that, you know, to this day I still don't enjoy having to do those things I learned. You know what I mean? But I had to learn them and do them because I didn't have a label anymore. You know what I mean? You got to do, and that's just the, you know, that's the biggest thing. You have to learn new things and start doing new things. Like I know how to record myself now. You know what I mean? Like I've set up shows on my own. You know what I mean? That's without having a promoter come to me and, you know, just pay me a fee to show up. You know, I've done a lot. You know, I've done radio shows. I've released music on my own. Like, you know, it's basically it. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of learning. You come back with more information, you know.
And as you are all of those business related things you don't enjoy? And do you really just prefer the artistic stuff, or do you enjoy some of the business stuff?
No, I really prefer the artistic side. I mean, but I enjoy creating. You know what I mean? Like everything, like my strongest weapon is in my head. You know what I mean? It's all like I can create dope shit all day, all day, all day. Like because I am the dopeness. You cut off a piece of me and sell it. It's dope. You understand what I'm saying? I give you a piece of me, you can sell it. It's dope. Like I can tell you what happened last week and you can sell it because it's dope. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I just, you know, I understanding that about myself and understanding it and having experienced the game from the vantage point that I did, you know, when I first came in, where people did all of those things for you, where people did so many things for you, all you had to do was show up and be dope. That's what I prefer. You know what I mean? Yes, I want to have control. I don't want the wool pulled over my eyes and all of that, but like you know, what I did was I built a team, and I have people I trusted. I had to teach them what I know, get them started. You know what I mean? So get them to a point where now where they off and running, and now they can start teaching me shit that I don't know in the field that I started them in. You know what I mean? And we work together to make the whole thing grow. Because if you allow me to do what I'm good at, I'll never disappoint you. Or nobody for that matter. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever bought a fucking, let's say what? Have you ever bought a Sprite, whatever your preferred brand of soda is or juice? You ever bought a Sprite and was disappointed?
No, if you like Sprite, you like Sprite.
If you like Sprite, you like Sprite. You know what I'm saying? This the niggas who make it, they know what the fuck they doing. Let them do it. Let them do that.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.